Would you wear that vest?
They don't have enough employees.
I'm gonna pull it into the general discussion.
This video we're watching, you got a guy carrying longboards through the window of his car. So I thought that's what it is. You gotta be kidding. He hit the sign, now he hits his car.
This went up.
What we talked about Friday.
What do people think?
Y'all asked for more scope.
Well, I didn't. I don't think I asked for more scope. We'll pass that down.
There he is.
Okay.
Which one do we add to?
Just the.
Good morning, it's 10:04. We'll call this meeting for South County Commission to order. Everyone please rise. Oh, it's on your prayer. Father God, we come to you today, and having missed the rain which we've all seen last night, we hope that forecast for today, that you bring rain abundantly, that it moistens the land and makes things safer and improves things for those that provide the food for us. Father God, we look around and we can't help but notice the blessings we have, and yet we look and reach across the sea and we think of our comrades, our friends, fellow citizens of the world that are facing the peril they face and the unknown, all at the hands of one man that cares less. Father, we ask that you intervene and you correct that, as we know you have the power and the wherewithal to do that. Father, guide each of us as we serve those around us. Forgive us of our sins. Look at those that run to danger as we look. Keep all safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Take seats, please. This time I'd open for public comments at 10:06. Anyone in the audience or on the call-in wish to make any comments?
I would.
Yes, sir.
Little discussion was going on right before court started, talking about the amount of trash on the county roads. And this is really just going out to the public more than anything, but the amount of trash being dumped on the county roads is probably tripled in the past year. I'd love to put a plea out to any of the county residents. If you're driving around, you see somebody dumping trash, don't hesitate to call the local authorities wherever you're at, because that burden is being placed on your tax dollars. The county precincts are paying every week to send guys out, county equipment, county trucks, pick up trash, and it's costing us money that we could be spending on more vital items for the county. With the city in the process of doing their law that they're trying to pass tomorrow, that's going to make more of a burden on the county roads, because when people have a hard time getting rid of their trash, they're going to want to go find a place to dump it. So keep that in mind. Pass that on to everybody that y'all know in the law enforcement. Please help us keep an eye on that, because It's probably, we spend $500 to $1,000 a week out of my precinct picking up trash. That's such a waste of money. So that's all I have.
If people see that, they ought to get the license number of the vehicle, call that in. Do not try to do something
Yeah.
themselves.
Everybody almost has a camera and a recorder with them. Take pictures of it. Call the police. Because the fines, believe it or not, the fines for that have gone up tremendously. If it's over 5 pounds, it's a Class B misdemeanor. You can go to jail for it. So if it's over 100 pounds, it's actually a felony, I think, now. So it's quite a serious offense. And we have people that are dumping truckloads of shingles in the middle of a road out on the county road that might weigh 4,000 pounds. Something like that takes us, 4 hours to go out there and hand pick up a crew. So keep that in mind, and we'd appreciate any help we can get.
Our tree stump as big as that chair right in the middle of the roadway. Well,
Yeah.
I've had that happen before too. So.
We can't change it without the citizens' help.
I was driving roads yesterday afternoon and found 3 in my precinct that I saw. I know there's more than that, so crews tied up need to be doing other things this morning, but we've got to go get it cleaned up. So it is a problem, and it's growing.
Generally how each of us start our week is
Yeah.
patrolling roads.
So
Any other comments? Okay, it's 10:09, we'll close the public comment session. I'd ask the court to take action on the consent agenda, or ask for clarification, or pull down any items.
Judge, I just have clarification items.
Okay.
Please. On item 6, now we received a project master plan, but we really don't take action on all of this master plan today, right? It's just the tax assessor portion?
Yes, I'd like to pull 6 and 7 down for discussion.
Oh, pull it
Since
down.
we did add scope after Friday's.
I'll just wait on those then.
6 and 7.
Yes. So they're joint items, so.
Okay.
On item 11, can we add to that the carpet replacement in that, behind that glass area there? That carpet is really, really worn, and we're fixing to put some heavy work pressure on it again. And if we could go to something like
What
been
size
using-
area is that, Jeff?
It's
About-
probably I don't know, is it 15 by 15, something like that?
It's not a big area, Mark. It's just
Yeah,
thin
good.
thread
300
bearing.
square foot, probably.
Well, it's
You get
it's half the
Texas.
width of that building.
I'll get
deep,
Texas to
and
go measure it, and you'll put 2,000, wow, it's way more than enough. Should be
Please.
way more.
And it, the correct color too. I don't know what the scheme is there with some of that renovation coming, but
Would you do the squares? Is that the,
Either which, I mean, that's a small area that we could do roll. No more than that is.
thanks.
Cheaper.
That'd be great if we could include that.
and it's understood that the glass deal is gonna open us up to 2 workstations.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, so add $2,000 to that for carpet.
Please.
Okay, leave it in the consent. Commissioner Watts, on item 12, that fuel that you bought out there, is that because that was the area y'all were working in, and that was?
No, that's the judge. They are hot shotting. The only option I have right now is big tanker instead of bobtail tanker, and so we've been doing that. This kind of catches the higher price diesel, but we've been doing that smaller loads instead of taking those full tanker versions. And so I've been buying wholesale from and having them deliver. Now we do buy gas there.
At Ralph's, or?
Yes, at the expressway, tire and fuel.
Okay. I was curious.
I have
And
a question about 8 and 9.
Okay. Commissioner Pinkham, 8 and 9.
And this, Tracy, on 8 and 9, dealing with the release of those properties to the city. If the city ever takes those and they decide to do away with one of the locations and sell that property, is that income that the city would have, or would the county, once we give it to them, we lose anything on that?
That's only 8, Commissioners, not 9. 9's separate.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just 8, I'm sorry. I was, item 8. I'm just curious how that works. If we're releasing basically our interest in those properties to the city, and we give them a property, and it's next to one of their, let's say it's next to a facility they're using, they change use of it, and then they decide to sell that property, is that income then go to the city, or we've lost it all? Is there any way to put that in there that if they ever sell that it can, the county could get back some of their portion of that?
We could try to put some preferred language in it.
That makes sense?
I don't know if we have to yet.
I know.
Before you do that, we ought to talk about it, but the reason that's been done historically is those lands have been up for sale, nothing's sold, they become a burden to whoever has them. Believe me, they don't come out on them.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but if, in the event, 15 years down the road, they were going to reuse that property, and there's going to become some value to it at that time, I don't understand why we would give away, that would be like selling property and throwing in your mineral rights to it just for the fun of it. Because down the road, they might be worth some money.
They are doing maintenance on it.
Well, I know.
Makes a big difference.
I'm just asking a
What
question.
was the 42,
Question's not a
41?
bad question, but I think this ought to go on its own. Let's sit down and have the discussions with them as to what the pros and cons are of that before we all sit and change what we've done and operate on for historical. I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think there's any land there. It would have already been sold if it was worth anything, unless for some reason it was fortuitous to be adjacent to something, that was gonna.
Well, such item is.
You're talking in general, not these specific.
Yeah, in general, not these properties, but let's say that the city's using a water plant that they're going to, right now, and it's going out of service in 2 years, and then they're going to do away with it. Then that property, they're going to do away with that water plant, because I know there's some deals like that happen through the city. I just don't understand, just because that's historically why we've done it is not really always the best reason for that answer. I'm just trying to look out for the interest of the county, but
But what I'm saying is that there hasn't been real value that's been historically done because their costs in it usually are far greater than it's ever going to bring out.
correct.
That's all.
42, 41 Canyon Trails, that seems like that's a very expensive piece of property, or could be, potentially.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's sitting right between two 2,500, 3,000 square foot homes. It's a small piece, it's a small parcel, but
It says these parcels are dedicated drainage ditches.
are they?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what it says.
Okay. I just didn't see any support on that, what it was, so. Okay. I did have additional question on 15. I understand the need for that, and I've read the laws regarding it. I just wasn't sure on our application. Looks like we have a sample application from Brazoria County, and then we also have our own that's bullet pointed. Which one of those are we intending to use? Are we going to amalgamate those two together?
No, it's going to be whatever the Wichita County one is.
Okay. So those bullet points, are we
I
at?
submit 2 items.
Well, in my support document, we've got the Wichita County one with all the bullet points for ticketing, parking, traffic control, fire safety. And then afterwards, we show
That probably was just something we were looking at. Judge, is that the
Yeah,
one?
that was one.
Brazoria
And-
County.
And looking at the other mass gathering requests,
Okay.
Constable Gowan came across that, thought it was good.
Okay.
It was just there for information.
Yes.
Because we've had these come up, we've reworked the original applications. This is what we want to get on, so we have it, because we know we have another one that's going to be coming back to us for maybe this summer. So we wanted ours updated and in place. It is not a perfectly done
No,
document.
and I understand the need for it.
Yeah.
I just wanted some clarification, because it didn't make a
It
lot
really
of.
shouldn't have been in there. I don't see that. I just see the agenda.
Okay.
All right, that was my fault.
So all these bullet points, we're asking for information under each of those bullet points. Okay.
And so that'll be hopefully, in my perfect world, that'll be something that's on the website.
Uh-huh.
And then those folks can be
So-
filling in that document in order to submit it.
So those are actual questions?
Yes, they
Okay.
are. So
Got
this is the
you. All right.
information that we need.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, that makes a little more sense than the two different documents. I didn't know which one we were intending on trying to
So
operate on.
we don't have a completed document yet.
That'll go on. The document's complete for somebody to fill out.
Right,
Yeah.
this is just,
It's
this is
just a
just a
form.
form of
Yeah.
the application that I wanted all of you all to see, because probably eventually we're gonna have some sort of application from your precinct, and so we were thinking, just so you all are
Yeah.
aware, kind of where we're going.
No,
with
I
that.
fully understand the need. I've read through the law and understand it fully. I just had a question on that, on the format, so it's a little confusing.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
It's gonna be our application form.
Okay, great.
And Judge, I did have a couple of questions left, 16, 17, and 19.
Let me go back and make one comment on that. There is a document that will appear with, next to that, on the website, on our website, that is a document put out by Texas Association of Counties. That's kind of a Cliff's Notes extraction, and so we put that on to help have information for
Okay.
people.
Gotcha.
Okay, sorry, Commissioner Watts. go ahead.
No problem. That 16, I just noticed that paying from general fund contingencies, is that that's an ARPA expenditure though, eventually, right?
The cost of the tower construction and all that will be an ARPA expenditure. This is just consulting fees. This is not included in the money that Lee has asked to come out of ARPA funds.
We can't capture consultant fees on the ARPA side?
We could, but he had requested not to. He just requested to pay it out.
Should we?
We've already got our,
I thought that was part of our ARPA money. We had that in that fund balance.
total fund.
Yeah. So it should have been in the,
The main thing he doesn't have in his budget, he proposed this before we had ARPA, that was in, and so we can certainly change that and make that go to ARPA funding.
I think the spirit of all that project, it should be under ARPA funding.
well, the spirit, and we need to spend the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The whole thing about that ARPA is it's all a timeline, so I'd rather save the taxpayers' money all we can up front and get that
Yeah.
money. I don't want holding in the bag.
Okay, and we want, he's had some of it taken out of his budget, which will leave him in real bad shape for the rest of the year. So it would be, go back and pay all other amounts that have been paid, and then it would be under ARPA funding as eligible.
So,
And then on item 17, I note the date of September the 13th, 2018.
Right, so I wanted to be sure, because it looked like to me, in looking back, when this was approved in 18, there had been some changes to a standard form they had submitted to the county, and I wanted to be sure that we were making changes to our document,
Okay.
not to a document in general.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. And then the transportation services is in reference to,
Bodies, I assume.
is that what it is? I just didn't know if it was tied to vehicles. or-
What's it to?
It's actually for, okay. That's fine.
Motion to approve as amended, Judge.
I'll second.
That's the longest consent discussion.
Judge,
For,
Ma'am?
I have a question on 16 was, did it have to mention about E&O being reimbursed?
That's what I just said, exactly, put it, I was written that down to,
wrong topic.
he's 406.
And Nancy, on that transport, would we make sure that new group has that? I know the judge mentioned that Willie was checking into that, but I can get an address if I need to. I can drive by there regular.
Or I can look it up.
Okay.
I'm sure they're on the list.
Okay. Any other comments on the consent agenda? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 1 on general business is to review and approve the regular bills for payment, order the county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered as in treasurer's office.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the bills? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is discuss, consider, take action to continue or cancel the burn ban in effect since December 14th, 2021. Commissioner Finnegan.
Yes, sir. Commissioners, I know I've received numerous calls asking about if we get the burn ban lifted. I know there's a couple of other commissioners that have received phone calls about it. Before I realize we've had a pretty dry spring or dry winter. There's been quite a few fires. We have had some rain in the county, and we do have our bar ditches, our pastures are getting pretty well green, at least east of Vernon and Childress area. But I did go ahead and get a hold of the county fire chief and ask their opinion on that, what they're seeing right now in the grass fires. And the county fire chief agreed. He didn't have a problem lifting the burn ban. What he said normally Wichita County, even if we're in a burn ban, usually by the end of April, 1st of March, we've received enough rain to where they'll go ahead and lift it for 60 to 90 days before the heat of the summer gets here and before we get put back in a burn ban. So we have reached that 1st of March time frame. And I also did talk to the emergency management office over breakfast the other morning with the judge, and he was in agreement with that also. So with citizen complaints, I'm not saying that we shouldn't just have, people still need to be careful, but as far as the burn ban, I would make a motion that we would lift it
West in the county.
or discuss it. As far as if it's not agricultural, they can't burn it. So if they're doing some kind of work out in the county where they want to burn wood or clear up land or something like that, if it's not agricultural, they can't burn it. And I didn't ask specifically what each one of them is trying to burn, because most of the time when they call me and ask me if they're talking about brush piles or something like that, I will try to lead them toward the agricultural. But I have had some people that are just cleaning property doing brush. It doesn't really fall under agricultural.
No.
So they're in a bind trying to do it too, because they're trying to get property developed and stuff like that. So they're trying to get it fixed, even though it's not for agriculture. But there again, I realize that's why I went to the fire departments and the emergency management office to get their opinion. So I know Jeff's had some calls about people wanting to burn. So
I'm concerned about the west end of the county that has not received any rain.
Right.
And that's where we've had all the
You can't
fires.
divide that order.
That's where we've had the fires so far this year, is in the west side of the county.
Yeah.
The Lake Road down through KMA area, so.
I've got some brush piles to burn, could burn them under the agriculture code, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole right now. You're still liable. Just because the burn ban's off doesn't mean you're not personally liable. I wouldn't touch it, but that's just me.
I had that concern.
Okay, but you do, we take it like at 369 as a north-south line, and burn ban to the west of that.
West of that.
We move it to the east.
That'd be better than taking the whole rain off,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm sorry I didn't get no rain yesterday. I had a real nice shower last night.
Literally, the west end of the county received nothing.
I think I got 3/4 of an inch.
the west end of the county, about the only thing that won't burn right now is what's already burned. That's the dividing line.
Well,
We do have quite a bit of country that won't burn.
dividing it's better than emptying it all together.
It is.
But
Wind is a bigger factor than anything.
I'd like to hear from KMA and Wichita West and Pumpkin Center and Electra and Owl Park.
We're greening up. We will get there. It's greener now than it was 2 months ago. There's no doubt about that. But then I've had a few showers where I was working yesterday, so it's, but I appreciate the point. We still need to be very, very careful. And I tell you, anytime you're welding on a windy day, you better have some help, 'cause it'll get away from you.
I don't like to restrict anyone from doing anything, but I still have the concern that we've burned up half that side of the world this year already, and I don't want to burn the other half.
Ms. Jennings, should we go ahead today? I don't think we want to try to modify the existing order. Go ahead and we would cancel this one, and as part of that, we would go ahead and do a new order that could then be approved by the court on the following Monday. But we do a new order today, having that burn ban still exists in the western half of the county. You comfortable with that?
I am, if you all don't think that it's too confusing. I mean, I'm just saying to you.
That ran through my mind, but
But I do think that you all have the ability to do that, yes, sir. You know, all somebody's gonna read, number of them.
Do we,
And actually, I need to burn some too, but I'm west of 369, so.
You're on the wrong side.
I'm up the creek anyway.
do we hold off a week
Sure,
here
my life.
from our chiefs on the west end?
And we could possibly get some nice
We
rain
could.
this week.
We
It
could.
could fix itself this afternoon.
It could.
That's the thing, it could change.
My requests are all west for the most part of it. And it, like you say, it's wind, and I'm scared to
Wind's the big
death to
deal.
burn on my place at all, just simply because I'm still too dry.
If you've got low humidity and high wind, you'll burn green grass.
we got that today.
I've seen it. It actually happens.
We've had just about every day with 20+ mile an hour winds lately.
Well, we've got all the dead stuff underneath in the green.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can we hold off 1 week and hear from our western chiefs? I know you've
We
already.
have a motion
Yeah.
that does not have a second.
Well, and it'll die right there. That's easy enough.
But Commissioner, if you make that contact, because when we talked, we were dealing mostly, the fire chief we visited with, you said you called some of the others, so. But I don't think it would hurt us to give a week to get that input, and then, and I know when we draw that line halfway, it's gonna be confusing.
Confusing.
So,
I can withdraw my motion
okay, thank you.
till next week.
But it is a good discussion.
Yeah.
No doubt.
There are some-
I'm not about writing rules. We've got way too many rules
I'll
as it
soon
is.
lift it, but
Some of
then,
them are important.
as soon as we do, we burn up another bunch of acreage out in Electra, and
Okay. Item number 3 is receive an update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects in Janet Courthouse Annex.
do we want to take
I'm
6
sorry,
and 7 before we move 6 and 7?
Oh, that's right, excuse me, I forgot that, let's go back to that. Item number 6 then is to, motion to approve the county annex tax office project and additional work at remote locations to be paid from the ARPA funding in conjunction with court order 220418.255 and assigned project number. Commissioner Beecham.
Yes, sir, and we did have our work session on this Friday, so you've all seen the overall plan, but as a result of some of that discussion Friday, there was some additional scope brought into the project, most notably exterior improvements. We did have some issues exterior that we were going to take in-house. The no, it's not paint, it's whatever coating, the Dantex type coating on the lower floor is 50 years old, it has not been addressed. There is some cracking, which would allow moisture to get in behind that Dantex and create some problems at some point. It was intended to take care of that in-house, but after some discussion Friday, we decided to put that within the project. Also around the second and third floor windows that overlook Scott Street, they leak profusely. There's literally a bullet hole that I can stick my index finger through in one of the glasses. We discussed replacing those with modern energy efficient windows. That's been brought into the project, as well as on the third floor, the common area floor tile, particularly around the back stairwell. When you walk on it, it cracks. It's wore out. It's 50 years old. It's past its useful life. It needs to be replaced. So adding all of those things into the original scope of the project, was handed a number this morning that would be $3.28158 million. That would be an et-al. Project.
That also included the increase of working around inhabited spaces.
Inhabited spaces at night, yeah, for the HVAC, because this would include replacing all HVAC components on the first floor, which is,
This says no night work,
I forgot to take that off.
so that is incorrect.
Literally just pointed it at me.
Because, yeah, I
I
don't-
stated it needs to, I put the not work in, so take that, those words off, I apologize.
Because that changes the
Yeah.
fee considerably.
and I do, out of full disclosure, want to note that this project does move the current ATM, which is inside the building, it moves it to the exterior of the building, and that current ATM is a Postel ATM, and I am a member of the board of Postel, so full disclosure, this project would move that ATM that's currently with Postel, which doesn't mean that we couldn't have other vendors at some point move into that slot.
It moves the ATM location to
It
the
moves
exterior,
But
not,
just being full disclosure, that does change the presence of Postel's ATM to the sidewalk.
Have we had that discussion with that vendor, or, I mean, ATMs are not big money makers, and, you know, they're going to have to change completely the style of ATM that they,
And I have had that because they're changing the ATMs this week, next week. All 3 of our ATM locations will be changed to a new machine. So I have had that discussion with them of what a new machine would be for a wall mount.
Outside.
So,
but they're willing to do that.
yeah, at some point. I mean, if we decide to.
I just don't want to make a hole that nobody wants to put an ATM in.
No,
Okay,
but
because
just
they are
full
expensive.
disclosure that I have that potential conflict.
we'll just have to cancel the whole remodel then. I'm just joking.
Are we paying the cost of the
Well,
providing the
No, just
Not a
the
moving
hole in the
ATM.
wall. We're putting our drop box beside it. So other than
There'll have to be
that,
electricity to it.
there'll have to be electricity to it.
Whether it's their ATM or anybody else's, it's just no
It's
different
just
than a
an
vending
ATM
machine
slot.
slot that we're putting in. We're putting in a vending machine slots inside the hallway.
Yeah.
Be no different. We don't know which vending company we're gonna use or whatever.
Commissioner.
And if necessary, I abstain from vote on this project?
I don't, I mean, to me, that's just a standard.
Architecturally, we put anything that's there, and then if y'all choose to go out to, or for an RFQ or RFP or whatever it is that you would provide for vendors to put in there.
Right.
I still would provide the whole, like you say, same as a vending machine or a Coke machine or anything else. And
Right.
So, it doesn't change the project.
No, it's the right move to make it more efficient for Wichita County to have that ATM outside with our drop box, or not deposit box.
You know, Postel has been very good to us to give us cheap ATM rates as far as what we have here and utilize, and so they've been a very good partner on that.
There's not a surplus of ATMs in the downtown area.
No.
Anyway, and for things like hotter than hell and
Sure.
people are doing, the art walks and various things, to have an additional ATM that they can get to at night and at evenings
Right.
and weekends. As just a citizen, a bystander, I think it's a really good idea to have
Right.
there at that location.
Well, it provides another level of service for
It does.
our tax, the people that are coming to pay their tax
It
bills.
also needs internet connection, or are they wireless?
Judge, I don't know.
I think they're wireless, aren't they?
I'm sure they're probably wireless.
There's both kinds. It just, we'll provide a variety of connections, and then whichever vendor gets in there, go whichever direction they want.
Okay.
So I'll defer to Ms. Jennings if she thinks I should abstain from voting on this item.
Commissioner, that's your call. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
No.
In abundance of caution.
Okay.
If you are concerned.
I am concerned about a potential conflict of interest.
Then I would absolutely defer. If that's what you're thinking.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay.
I'll move ahead that we assign 3.280158 to approve the remodel of the tax annex, what we're referring to as the Wichita County Annex Tax Office project, and with additional projects as well, and assign the court order number appointed for that. And then, do you want to fold in the motion to allow Harper to solicit construction bids
It'd be a separate.
on that?
You get it as a separate item.
Okay, so I'll wait to make that motion then.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Out of ARPA.
Any other comments or discussion? Okay, a motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the item as stated, noting that the approved cost is $3,280,158. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Abstentions, 1. Commissioner Beecham.
And then I'd make the motion, Judge, that we allow Harper Perkins to solicit and collect construction bids for this project.
And I will second that.
Okay.
I
Any
think
other
that's a
comments?
conflict.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all. Sorry for overlooking that. Now, let's go to item number 3. Receive update on courthouse renovations, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex. Commissioner Beecham.
Well, I can start, since I have Glenda and Matt here, they might have some additional information. This is going to be a busy week. If plans go as planned, we'll get the annex front back open up. The canopies will go on. The new logo sign over the door will go up. Hand railing, landscaping. We should be back in the front door by Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. if everything goes according to plan. Yeah. Nothing's gone according to plan on that job yet.
Will we shut that back door down again?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that was the
Okay.
the intent and design was to make that front entrance the permanent single point entrance, walking past the security desk.
Are those doors gonna be alarmed? The ones going down on Sixth Street? There'll still be an exit.
They will be as part of this final project. They are to an extent now. The two fire doors are now are exit alarmed. I'm not sure how they're alarmed on the storefront, but they do have an alarm. I'm not sure how it's set up right now.
Will we have those plastic chains or something across concrete?
Yes, what we had in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. Here at the courthouse, they're going to start building the walls down on the first floor. They've started building the new elevator shaft upwards. It looks incredibly different in that elevator shaft than it has. It's starting to look like an elevator shaft instead of a mess. The kitchen area, which will be building maintenance, they poured back the concrete, leveled that up, painted the ceiling. It looks like a completely different room now. They don't even have light fixtures up. It has temporary lights, and it's already brighter, and it looks like a space that somebody would actually want to do his work in. So all that area is moving right along.
Or the things that completed the first floor in that area as well.
Is it 100% completed, or we have to pull that third pour?
They're not really a third floor, the ramp.
It's a flow.
Things that float out at the doorways.
Yeah.
There's still some of that. I wouldn't call that a third floor.
Yeah. But we're not going to do the third cap to flow it level. They were able to level with two pours instead of the third pour that we originally anticipated.
Does, the window project here, you had the different colors. Can we match those up with the windows at the annex for frame and glass? So have a little bit of...
Yes and no. To match the rest of the courthouse, we're going with the darker blondes at the annex. The colors just match.
Oh, okay.
And there's so much of the
Anodized.
silver color here at the courthouse with everything on that we've replaced and everything on the main entry doors, even though they're not used, is all the aluminum, the silverish color. If we went back with bronze on just the north side, it would look patchwork look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two buildings will never
Be
meet each other.
We had a lot of discussion on what to do with those back windows.
Well, it's different architectural.
It is. I would have liked to have brought the bronze in because it does look more modern, but we would have literally had to replace everything to make it match, so.
We are going to continue the heating system we started up in this area. We'll continue down on the first floor.
The keyway system. And as any project that we do, will be on the keyway.
Yeah, that's great.
And will there still be, we'll finish all that. The west entrance will then still be a key access, electric key access to the side.
Are you talking about the courthouse or the annex?
I'm sorry, courthouse.
Yes.
The west entrance will be accessible for employees or, it'll be an access controlled entrance. It won't be a general public entrance.
Right. Yeah, it'll be alarmed exit, key card entrance, key card exit as well. If you're
In or
counting
out.
in or out, key card exit, or alarmed exit if the general public pushes the door open.
Last year worked out well, having an east entrance access.
Yeah. So, lot of things going on in both buildings. And hopefully we get the annex back to the front of it functioning again for a short period of time before we tear it out again. Oh, well.
No, I think that's going to be fantastic, and it's nice to move forward.
If you haven't had a chance to walk over there and look at the elevator lobby and the elevator and all that, take the time to do that.
It really looks good.
It's,
So much better than that annex.
Right.
so, yeah, it's night and day difference. And
Where will the lady be, or did y'all think about I call it the tax office informational person? When we have two entrances, will that person still be situated, or do we have a thought for that person?
That kiosk, when you first come down the hall, the first thing you come to will be that informational person. She'll
Okay.
be behind a desk. Will be directing traffic, if you will.
Good.
That's where you'll take your number, and go be seated in the lobby.
Okay, good. I just, to me, she was extremely busy. I was over there this past week and watched her, and she just kind of where she's at, she catches the traffic, but I'm amazed at how busy and how she directs people, and that really it's a big help, because then they don't have to get in one line and jump out and get back in another.
The way that window is designed, that can also function as an after-hours window. If, say, tax night, we could leave a window open if the tax assessor so desires, then they could bring their payments in all the way up to midnight and not be delinquent. It provides several more options than we currently have in this design.
Is the area where, I know y'all mentioned it, where we talked about putting the exterior ATM, doesn't that have a night drop or something? Aren't we going to be able to put something there where you can access?
That was what discussion led to moving the ATM. If we're going to put a night drop in, let's put the ATM there in order, if somebody needs to make a payment and they withdraw cash, they can do that. It made a lot of sense. We've been pretty successful with the drop boxes that we have in the tax office now, but having them accessible from the sidewalk 24/7, 365 will just add another layer of customer service to that office.
Well, that's exciting, guys.
I'm excited to see this one go.
It's been a while.
Yeah, since 76, 77.
We've had it on our books since 2013.
If you ask Janice Sons or Mike Little how long it takes, they'll take us 10 years.
I was thinking about that.
Jail was 10 years. I mean, we move fast.
But you know what? This has never been a court that just jumps out and borrows money wholesalely. We try to live within our means, and we try to pay for these projects as we go along, and I think that's a tribute to managing the funds, the taxpayers of Wichita County, that we don't just willy-nilly go off and do this project and that project. It's a controlled scenario. We live within our budget, and I think that's a good thing, and we will get it done.
And we've been certainly blessed with having the ability to move on some of these, which otherwise would have cost, it would involve borrowed money. It would have involved an increased INS rate for the county, and we're blessed to not need to do that. So
We've borrowed money, but it's been in a controlled, manageable fashion, which I think is good business.
I have nothing else.
Anything else? Okay, it's 10:52, and we're adjourned.
KMA said they're fine.